Alright, we have urgent orders from the king. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to this YouTube channel.
Hey.
So what's going on?
Well, I know everybody's waiting for the restoration, but we have a long winter ahead of us, so we really just need to kind of make this place functional right now for us. That's why I roughed in the dryer. We don't have a dryer, and kind of got the bathroom working, and now I'm just putting this light up. This isn't like our dream light fixture that we always wanted in our kitchen, but the fact is we were bumping our heads on the ceiling fan that used to be up there, so it's just not practical right now. So just another kind of band-aid to get to the spring.
It's done?
Yep.
I guess we gotta turn it on.
Ta-da!
Voila! I thought I'd show you this part of the house. We've been showing you parts of inside of the house, but this is actually one of the entryways on the side of the house here. Here's the porch.
You can see the timber frame carried out here too.
Yeah, all the timber frame. There was a barn area right here. And over on this side, on the other side of this garage area, was another barn. But this is original. Okay, so I said I was going to share a little bit about this binder that was dropped off full of like pictures and information and history. I haven't had a lot of time this past week to kind of go through it. I've looked at it a little bit so I can share some things with you. So let's get started. So there's a few pictures that are here, and it's kind of neat because I have actually original, looks like negatives. I know you probably can't see, but negatives of, it looks like, different houses around the neighborhood, the inn. Looks like a house across the street, some pictures of the inn, and it might be really cool to get these developed at some point. I had mentioned before, and I'm not sure if I said it on a live or on a post, but I had mentioned that there was history here having to do with a fort back when, back in the early 1700s. This part of New Hampshire was actually part of Massachusetts, and there was a charter all the way up the river for different areas to have forts where there would be settlements that protected the settlers against Indian attack. Well, apparently Leominster was fort number 9, but I since learned that it was never settled here. So the charter expired. So that was the history. I found out about that. So the mystery of the fort has been solved. It's kind of fun because there's actually some old little programs and different things from a long time ago. This here actually is from 1857. It says there is a Union sleigh ride from Leominster to Marlow. So it's talking about your company with ladies is respectfully solicited in January 24th in 1857. They will start here at 9 o'clock a.m. and they'll head to Marlow and they'll dine at Pett's Hotel. So there was a sleigh ride in 1857 here. So apparently, again, I guess there was a sleigh ride annually here, and there's actually a write-up in a newspaper talking about a sleigh ride in 1894 that was right here, and apparently everybody loved it. And they were entertained here at the Barton's Hotel. There was a good supper, and dancing was in order, and those who attended expressed themselves of having enjoyed the occasion greatly. You want to go to town? You got to pick up a stage. You're going to hop on a stagecoach. You come right over here to our hotel, and it tells you right here where and what time you can actually pick up a stagecoach and head to a town. Apparently there was a dedication ball here when it was called Nichols Hall, which was the first family that owned this. And here's in 1860, and it says there's a dedication ball. And look at all the dancing. Look what the kind of people, how they were dressed. That happened here, right up in our dance hall. That kind of dancing. This is actually really interesting because it lists out, it only looks like half, there's a half a card missing, but it lists out the kind of dances there's going to be. After supper, they're going to be a quadrille, it's a melody, and then a polka and a French four and a waltz and a jig. Lady's choice, it's going to be a gallop, a polka, Esmeralda, or waltz. This had to be back in the 1800s during the time when they did this dedication ball. Pretty cool. There's a lot more in here to go through, and I have read a few things, but unfortunately there's not a lot of dates and a lot of information. So there's kind of like, you know, it looks like there's just kind of puzzle pieces, and I want to do some more exploring in town, going to the Historical Society to kind of like put the pieces together and kind of like understand the timeline of who lived here, when they lived here, how, you know, what went on here at the time, because there's a lot of really, really cool stuff here. It's just doesn't have dates on it. I mean, some things do, obviously, but so it's just gonna, I guess it's gonna be a little while before I really learn a lot, but there's a lot to learn. So, and I'm not going anymore, or at least I'm not planning on it. So if you stick around, you'll learn right along with me. Some of you may already know, because you've been watching our videos, that our home was used as a part of the Underground Railroad. And I found out some really cool information recently that the mistress of the house here back in the 1800s was mulatto. She was actually the great-grandmother of a resident that still lives here in town. But I just had a good friend come over to visit, and she brought me something very, very cool. She's an expert quilter, and she also knows a lot about the Underground Railroad and was very excited to know that we actually had Underground Railroad history here. And she had been busy doing something, which was making a very cool quilt, which I'm going to share with you in a second, for years, and didn't know what necessarily where it should go. But when she saw our inn and the history, she knew that it belonged here, because apparently quilts were displayed on different homes that were involved in the Underground Railroad, and the images on the quilts actually explained what was going on inside, so that the runaways would know what it meant, but nobody else would know. Like a basket weave type of a quilt might specify that they could find food at this particular place. So anyway, I want to show you what she made for me. This is a quilt of all the examples of different patterns that people used back during the time of the Underground Railroad. And a lot of these quilts were displayed outside of people's home, and they all represent something. Like I was told that like the flying geese would represent which way to go, or the boat, there was a boat symbol right here. Quilt would say that it was a place that they could get transportation somewhere. So this is an actual quilt with all the different representations of the quilts that were used. And there's a key down here on the bottom that would explain what every little symbol on the quilt stands for. So this I would love to one day display in this room, possibly over this mantle, which was used in the Underground Railroad. And I just feel really blessed to have this. And I wanted to share it with you. Hopefully I'll be sharing more information about the Underground Railroad once I learn more.